Welcome back, humans. It's Dr. Jared here at HPC Move Mob. We are going to discuss the front squat today. Yes, the front squat. Understanding the start, progression, and translation of this ever so useful movement. Here we go. So we're going to start here. We all have to start somewhere. It's a good idea to make that at the beginning. If you're trying to improve your physical health in any intelligent and scientific way, then you're undoubtedly starting to front squat. However, you may be experiencing some significant frustrations along the way. You know, the air squat and the back squat came so easy. Why can't the front squat just play along and be nice? The answer falls in the fact that the front squat requires a front rack position. Yup, as you can see, the bar is resting on my chest and shoulders, and it's supported by my fingers. Now notice, I don't know if you noticed that subtlety, but notice I didn't say anything about my wrists or elbows, which a lot of you who are struggling with front squats, with thrusters, yeah, that's you. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. We need chest and shoulders. So that front rack is the thing that makes it tough. This can be a difficult thing because in terms of comfort on the chest and shoulders, a range of motion through the wrist and the elbows. But the true reason is that it creates difficulty in terms of oppositional stability, or at least it should. Now, what the heck is oppositional stability? Oppositional stability is the result of the elbows driving up to maintain the front rack position as the hips drive back to initiate good squat mechanics. I know that's a mouthful. We'll get into it here in just a minute, but it's all about achieving these movements in the shoulders and hips so that it creates stability throughout the spine to ensure safety. That's the big thing. Unfortunately, many people will overpower this scenario with either too much front rack. They'll drive into a compressed low back and they'll start to shear at the knees. So they're really driving those elbows up, but it's filtering all the way down in the low back and the knees, and it just looks really bad and they can't get very much depth. Or they will overdo the squat and find themselves rounding or collapsing in that bottom position and straining their low backs and discs. Bummer, right? Yeah, but that's a lot of people. So we got to figure out how to make this better. The answer is to take it slow and progress in the following ways. Let's take a peek here at this video and see what we have. See, I'm pushing hips back as elbows go up. There's that oppositional stability, so I can spring out of that bottom position. Well, you notice, yeah, I cut out that bottom end because I want for beginners to really understand this is all that we really want you focusing on, is to be able to send the hips back, to drive the elbows up, to push the knees sideways, to get into a good solid position where we'd sit down into a chair. That's going to come up big later. But if we can do this just on our own, holding a baby, or holding even just the bare barbell, that's a really huge step in the right direction, and that's what we want you to focus on. Last time, elbows up, hips back to maintain that solid, stable spine. All right, we'll continue on here. So we've dealt with the beginners. We need to get to the progressors, if that's a word. Many of you will say, hey, Doc, I got that, but I'm stuck at parallel and there isn't anywhere else to go because I'm so dang tight. Others will also say, I don't have any problems getting down, Doc. I just can't get back up. Okay, so those are the two subgroups of people who were really finding it difficult to progress. Now, the thing that we need to realize is the first person needs more mobility and the second person needs more mobility. What? You might ask. Well, the idea here is mobility is range of motion that is accompanied by sufficient tension. Okay, so the first person needs more range of motion, and the second person needs more tension in that range of motion. Therefore, they both need to understand and progress their mobility. Regardless, we need to understand that progressing to the bottom position of the squat requires us to do some different things. All right, we hear a lot of things throughout the our training. We have consistently been told knees out and back on your heels. These are good cues to correct movement failures. They also need to be refined and fully understood. As we break parallel, we actually have to let the knees come back in. I know that's freaking a lot of you out. No, not buckle into instability, but in order to keep the knees in line with the foot and the hip, they will have to come in as our hip stays back in the hip capsule, as our elbows continue to drive up to keep our great range of motion to that bottom position, but also maintain enough tension to drive us out of the bottom position. Yeah, that's a mouthful. So the idea is I just buckle into my knees and I don't stay back in my hip. That's where everything just kind of falls apart. I unload my hip, I start to round through the back, and I lose the weight forward. If I'm not driving those elbows up, I'm not going to be able to maintain tension. But the idea also is if I keep driving my knees out, I'm going to go into that pancake squat. So we have to realize that we have to do some different things, and there's some fine-tune awareness points that have to be developed in order for us to maintain tension at the hip, have that supported by the ankle, and really have that involve keeping the knee in a safe position. Now, I know we've talked a lot about that, or, it's a lot of a mouthful, but we want to make sure that you understand it. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the video here. As you see, oh, there's the beginning of my squat. So beginners, here you are. About right here, we have to realize I have to almost let things recompact so I can hit that bottom position and kind of sink into that low compact area there. We'll watch it again. I'm going down, I hit parallel, and you'll kind of start to see I'm starting to evert through my ankle a little bit, I'm starting to kind of flatten out through my arch. I have my big toe down, heel still down. I can definitely see the arrows there. I can move this shin back by really pulling my hip farther back into the hip socket so I can drive my elbow up higher so my chest can stay more upright to really even further refine that position. A lot of you are saying, wow, doc, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think it is. I'm proud of that, but it needs to get better. I want that to be a little bit more upright, a little bit more stable, so it feels more like my back squat. That tension, that recoil, so that it's nice, solid, and stable. So now we'll go into the translation. Okay, Dr. J, this is all neat and all, but we never really front squat through the day is what I'll hear from side to side. That doesn't happen. Right. We never stand up with things in our hands. And we never sit down with things in our hands. Thank God for that, because if we did, we would be front squatting all the time. Realistically, folks, this is happening all the time. Just ask some parents of young kids. Do you ever sit down and stand up with something in your hands? Oh yeah, like 1,000 times a day. It's over and over. It's highly repetitive. We take it to another subgroup, laborers. Do you ever have to pick up heavy things and put them down while holding them at chest level or higher? Yup, on the regular, you're doing that, and it's loaded and it's dangerous and it's awkward. You need to have the understanding how to do a great front squat in order to maintain your body, to avoid damage, to avoid disc herniations. So really, we just, like functional movements, we don't realize how much we miss the opportunity to utilize them until we understand them. Another way of looking at this is that functional movements, and definitely the front squat, are like seatbelts. Yep, like seatbelts. If we use them all the time, they're like a second nature to us, and they're there to protect us at all times. We don't even have to think about it because it's there for us. We want that front squat to be the same thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand the value or don't hit the progression, and they can't avoid the aggravation of massive injury or death. Okay, death might be a little excessive, but seriously, when you see people that are stuck in a downward cycle of pain and incapacitation, you see they're doing more dying than living. Yeah, that's a sad thing. And for those people, or the people that are progressing towards that still have time, I want this to hit home for some of you, so you can actually move towards living instead of accepting the steady decay. At the end of the day, I want everyone to be able to, front squat their body weight for not just 1, but like 10 reps. Yeah, that's right. That would be a sufficient measure of physical health. Even better, let's play the fill in the blank game, right? If I could front squat my body weight for 10 reps with technical efficiency, then I can fill in the blank. Pretty much do whatever life asks of you on the physical realm. That's right. You'll be ready, capable, and confident in almost all physical contingencies. Sound crazy? We see it every day, and we know that you can do it. So let's embrace this grind, baby. Now, I hope this helps you understand and progress your front squat, but also identify how often we have to utilize it during the day. If we can make connections on both ends, then we'll be able to crush our physical existence and really make some strides towards, living as intended. Know if you like what you're hearing and you want to keep getting this free information, then simply click the follow button in the drop-down menu. That'll get you everything that we put out. You don't have to hope that you find it on social media. It'll come directly to you. And again, thank you for all of you who've been really enjoying these, who've liked the posts, who've liked us on Facebook and social media, who started following us on Instagram. It's awesome. We want to keep delivering for you. And thank you for the shares and the comments. We want more people to understand their body and realize that they have a lot to control, or they have a lot to control, but they do have a lot of control over how they age. So please share this with people who need it. Lastly, comment with questions or requests for things that you want covered in the future. That's how we make this specific to you, and we want it to be awesome. So thanks again. Good luck. Keep moving, never miss, and live as intended, baby.